All right, so wanted to kick this off. We did this last year because we have so many people in the networking project in OCP. We're just going to use this first 10 minutes to get together, all as one group, and kind of kick the day off, review what we did last year, and give out some thanks. I'm Scott Emery.
Omar Baldonado.
Omar Baldonado. And we're the co-leads of the networking project in OCP. I also want to call out Mark. Over here is our incubation committee representative for networking. So when you submit designs, they'll go to him for approval and the rest of the incubation committee.
Yeah, so first off, we really wanted to call out, Scott and I wanted to call out all the different sub-projects that are going on inside the networking group. I mean, you all make up this community. There are a number of folks who have been driving the sub-lead, as sub-leads have been driving the different projects within the group. And they make up the majority of all the activity. For example, we have Oni with Kurt. Is Kurt in the room? Please stand up and please give Kurt a hand. Yeah. You know, our longest standing sub-project, you know, and one of our first software projects within OCP. In fact, a bunch of these are that way. I'm not sure if Shin is, I haven't seen her yet, but I know I've seen some folks from the Microsoft team as well, but also a lot of, not just Microsoft, but a lot of different companies, hardware, software integrators participate with Psi and Sonic. So super excited for there. I see some folks with Sonic shirts here too. So big thanks to that community. Steve Noble leads Open Network Linux. You saw that on the stage yesterday with the demo with Facebook and Google and Big Switch. Don leads the optical monitoring work, as well as he's contributing today, you know, helping MC and kind of shepherd along the third track in optics. Rajat, I think I saw Rajat in the room. Give Rajat a hand here. Rajat leads the Campus Branch Wireless Initiative, and David Wolf on our interoperability and testing track. So really wanted to say thanks to these folks, but as well to all of you who participate in these projects. There are weekly meetings, there are phone calls, meetups, and in fact, the Psi Sonic group has a huge meetup on Thursday, right after the summit.
So I just want to add a little bit to that meetup. For those of you that signed up early, the location did change. Hopefully you got the email. If you're going to that, go back to Eventbrite. They have the new location. It's over by Marriott's Great America instead of at the LinkedIn campus.
Go over there. No.
Yeah, so we had a lot of activity last year. I just wanted to kind of highlight some of the things that we did back in, I think it was March or April. We had a plug fest at UNH where we tested 100 gig optics against various vendors and operating systems and switches. Then in August, we had the engineering workshop at here in the Valley at Cumulus's headquarters. We had a lot of contributions by these 5 companies. Thank you to Cavium, EdgeCore, Facebook, Alpha, and Barefoot for contributing those designs to OCP. And we worked through a lot of our backlog. And so we got 4 companies actually went through the entire process and got the OCP accepted designation on their switches. So thank you to Cavium, EdgeCore, Facebook, and Nephos. And of course, and you'll hear about today, there was a ton of work in our sub-projects. So thank you. Thank you to everybody who contributed. And I just want to say one more thing, is that Don is now here. So Don, you raise your hand, and he's in the back there. And he's the sub-project lead for optics, and we'll be running that BOF this afternoon. Thank you, Don.
lot of opportunity here for thank you and recognition here. One thing we wanted to call out also was the show floor Wi-Fi. For those of you who've been tracking the last couple of months in the networking group calls as well as on the CBW calls, there's been a lot of work by Campus Branch Wireless to take some of the access points, the open access points that have been submitted to OCP by EdgeCore, and then putting software on top of them in a disaggregated manner from Mojo Networks. And if you were using Wi-Fi yesterday during the show, you were going through OCP networking, specifically from the Campus Branch Wireless folks. So there were some folks from Mojo I saw yesterday, but I don't see them, well, they'll be here soon. Okay, yeah, we started a little early. So if you see them and anyone from Campus Branch Wireless, thanks to Rajat and the whole team for putting that together. There's a bunch of actually, I know there are a bunch of contributions that are in the pipeline. We're working through those. Even more is coming on the wireless side. So we're looking forward to even more in 2018 there. Cool.
So we're changing the format of our engineering workshop this year. If you've been to OCP in the past, it's mostly been presentations, people standing up here giving a presentation, and the next guy comes up and gives a presentation. And the feedback we got last year was that we wanted more interactivity and wanted more work at the workshops. And so this year what we're going to do is we're going to have some of those presentations, but we're also going to have 5 different, we call them birds of a feather, or BOF sessions. And the format of these sessions is that there'll be some speakers who will come up and give a lightning talk. And this is going to be 5 to 7 minutes. And they're going to get to the salient points that they want to make about that topic. And they'll have maybe 1 or 2 questions that they can take after their talk. But after all the lightning talks are done, there'll be 3 or 4 of them per bird of feather session, then the speakers are going to come back up front, and then we're going to have a discussion. And this discussion is meant to be interactive. Everybody is hopefully a bird of that feather and can participate. So you can ask questions of the speakers. You can make a point of your own. You can answer a question that someone else has asked. You don't have to be one of the speakers. But it's this time to be interactive. And then at the end, maybe what will come out is that there's something that OCP should do in relation to that topic. Maybe not. Maybe we'll create a new sub-project. Maybe we'll enhance an existing project or something.
Yeah, it would be interesting to follow up on that. The action items from those BOFs, right? It could be as simple as let's just continue that discussion, or maybe have meetups to talk about that, or have a user group around that, or an interest group. Or if you can identify something concrete to work on, some common code, or we need a specification along these lines. Or possibly there's interaction with other subgroups or other projects within OCP, whether OCP Telco or OCP Hardware Management or whichever. Just think about how we can keep that going forward. One of the things also that we're looking to do as part of 2018 is to do a lot more meetups. The workshop was super successful last year at Cumulus. That we had sort of off sync from the summit. And we want to have more of those, not some bigger that included all the different topics, but some a lot more focused, like the one on Thursday for Science Sonic. So let's look for ways to create follow-up, create meetings to keep the momentum going on some of these topics.
So during the discussion time at the BOF, please use the microphones. And this is important for 2 reasons. One is so everyone can hear you. But secondly, it's because these sessions are being recorded. And that's important because we have 2 tracks this morning, 3 tracks in the afternoon. And so you can't go to everything. And so you may want to catch up later on some of the interesting topics that you missed. And here is the morning session. I don't know if you can read this. But on the left is going to be in this room, the red. And on the right, the blue is going to be in the room next door. And you want to introduce your...
Yeah, so and the summit schedule is online. If you just search for OCP Summit schedule, and you'll find them. The different tracks, I think we pulled these right off of the schedule page. So you can click on the different tracks. this morning here in this, and each room has a few talks that are sort of highlighting, they're not part of the BOF directly. They may be use cases or demos or just general talks that are longer format. And then later during the session, then we move into that BOF lightning talk discussion mode. So the first two talks here are one from the Facebook FBOSS team about how that team has been scaling out and deploying the different FBOSS related technologies. And then we have an in-depth review over how the OCP Wi-Fi was done by the CBW group. We may, depending upon, there was a last-minute swap, we may have EdgeCore up and reviewing a bunch of their contributions that they've been making. Then we move into the roundtable and BOF that's going to be here is about the different open source initiatives within networking, not just OCP, but more generally across the whole industry. Arpit will be back here from Linux Foundation. We have someone from the OpenSwitch group, as well as from a hardware perspective, what does all this open sourcing and the community disaggregation mean for the white box hardware vendors?
And in the room next door, we're going to start off with a use case. Yahoo Japan is going to come and talk about their network, their use of OCP hardware, and the testing and evaluation that they did on that. That's going to be followed by, Facebook is going to talk about their scalable designs, and that'll be followed by an update from our ONI sub-project, and then we'll go into a BOF for everyone who's interested in Sonic. And we'll hear some talks from Sonic. It gets worse in the afternoon.
Yeah, we go to 3 tracks. Again, this is just sort of, the community is active and there are many things going on. So we're going to talk in this room about the Open Network Linux and how Facebook and Google, they gave the keynote yesterday. We'll go into more depth in the demo today. And Haiyong from Alibaba will go over how they're building on top of the Sonic project. Then we have our BOF on telemetry.
And so in the room next door in the afternoon, we're going to start off with SAI. And this is going to be sort of an overview. And there's, of course, the whole engineering workshop on Thursday. If you're really interested in SAI and Sonic, you can go to that too. Then we're going to jump into our programmability BOF. And so if you're interested in programmability, the chips these days that have all the capabilities to do pretty much anything, we'll jump into that.
And then finally, the third BOF in the afternoon, or third track of the afternoon, is all around optics, with talks about different standards, how people have been rolling out optics at scale, and then a discussion looking ahead to lightning talks around optics themselves, and a BOF there.
Don, do you know what room that is? 210C. Oh, 210C. So that would probably be the next one over. Great. Okay, so let's break here. If you want to stay here, or if you want to go next door, go ahead and move now.
So thanks to everybody, and we'll see you throughout the day.